Anyway, like you said, I've seen a lot of scams. We've seen all the bank fraud that comes through, and we know how to help you kind of prevent that. So Brenda, if you'll go on to the next slide. So what we're going to talk about today is some different ways to prevent being taken advantage of or having fraud against yourself. The most important thing is do not share your information with anyone. That's going to be, never give out your social security number, never give out your passwords to your online banking or your user ID for online banking. No matter how great of a relationship you have with someone, you never know when that person, when y'all get in a fight, or they might get desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. And so I would just don't share your information with anyone. Keep that kind of stuff private to yourself. Also, we're going to talk about strong passwords for online banking and for like your PIN and things like that for your debit card. We'll talk more about that in a minute. E-statements are very important. If your bank offers e-statements, that keeps you from getting a bank statement in the mail, because think about it. First of all, we all know we can't really depend on our post office as much as we used to. Sometimes you get your mail, sometimes you don't. And sometimes you get other people's mail. So the last thing we would want is for your statement to go to somebody else or somebody to grab that out of your mailbox. So what you can do is you can go to your bank and you can sign up for e-statements. And the bank will send you an email and say, hey, your statement's ready to view online. And then you just go into your online banking and you can look at your statement there. Because think about this, if somebody gets a hold of your statement, it's got the full account number. It says where you bank, it says your name, it has your balance, so they know exactly how much they can get. So just try to avoid getting paper statements. I want to talk about what shouldn't be in your wallet. Can anybody give me an idea of what you should not keep in your wallet?
Social security card.
Yes, people think they need to keep their social security card in their wallet. You don't. Keep that someplace safe. Anything else? Something else that I could think of was your PIN number to your debit card. If somebody gets a hold of your debit card, you don't want them to have your PIN number too. So don't keep your PIN number in your wallet. Those are just a couple of things that come to mind. Just don't keep important information, but your social security number and your PIN number are the two biggest ones. Then check your accounts often. Again, just look on your online banking at least once a week, and just see if there's anything that looks fishy, anything that doesn't sound right to you. Something you don't remember doing, so that you can get ahead of it before it snowballs. What we've seen here at the bank is, somebody doesn't check. If you don't look at your statement until you get your statement in the mail, that's 30 days later. So you could have had a lot of stuff snowball over that 30 days. So just keep an eye on it at least once a week. I look at mine every day because I just can't have to have control of that, but at least once a week. All right, Brenda. Some other things, search reviews when ordering from an unfamiliar company. So I know a lot of times I see things on Facebook that I want to order. Those ads pop up and it's a really great deal on some shoes or really cute outfit, but you never know what you're clicking on. It's usually a scam. So what I like to do is I like to Google that company and check their reviews to see if other companies have other people have reported them as fraud. And then order from their website. Don't click on it through Facebook. So that's just a tip, because we've seen that happen a lot here at the bank. Also, whenever you're on a website, up at the top in the search bar, and this gives you a picture, look for that little padlock symbol. That means that it's a secure site. If you don't see that padlock symbol, then get out of that website. You don't want to be shopping on that website for sure. And then strong passwords, we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then, like I said, don't click on advertisements to order products through Facebook or through social media places like that. Or if you get an email, don't click on any links or anything through the email. We're going to talk about that as well. Next. So let's talk about passwords and what makes a strong password. We'll go to the next screen and it'll give us some examples. So which one is a strong password? Who can tell me out of these examples, which one would be the strongest password? Anyone?
The last one.
The last one, yes, thank you. And the reason why it's the strongest one is because it's got numbers and it's got letters and it's got symbols in it. So try to make it hard for these people to figure out your password. You know, you want it to be something that you'll remember. So try to do a phrase instead of just a word with a couple of symbols. Do a phrase, mix in numbers and letters. Using a capital letter would make it even stronger. And then also putting some symbols in there. Good job. So let's talk about how your account information gets stolen so we can try to prevent that from happening to you. One of the big ones that we see are gas station and portable card skimmers. And we're going to show some examples in a minute of some skimmers. And I'll tell you how to check that before you and how to prevent that from happening. But some other things are merchants' computer systems get breached sometimes. So if you ever get an email or a letter in the mail saying, well, usually it's a letter in the mail, they'll send you a letter and say that you had used your debit card or you had purchased something from a company during a certain period of time. And during that time, it was found that their systems were breached. What they'll do is they'll send you a letter and say, our system was breached. We want to try to protect you. We're going to offer you credit monitoring for the next year. Take advantage of that because they give it to you for free. And then that way they'll notify you if anything comes up that it looks suspicious. And then that way you can try to, again, prevent things from snowballing. You can get ahead of it before anything really bad happens. Also unsafe websites and ads like we were talking about a minute ago. Make sure you verify those before you buy anything. Dumpster divers stealing your mail. This goes back to e-statements and your debit cards, your credit card statements and your bank statements. I forgot to mention that set up your credit cards as well with e-statements so that people don't go through your dumpster, go through your trash and find your statements and steal your mail. Also, never just throw your statements away. If you do get a statement, you're going to want to put those through a shredder because people will go through your dumpster and through your trash and get those out and take your information. And then clicking on suspicious email links. If you ever get an email and you're not, and honestly, if you ever get an email that's got a link, I wouldn't even click on it because more than likely it's a scam. If you get something in your email and it says it's from your credit card company, for instance, instead of replying to that credit card, pick up the phone and call the phone number that's on the back of your credit card and say, I just got this email and it wanted me to click on this link. Can you verify if this was legitimate? And I bet you it's not. Same thing with your bank. Don't ever click on any links because it's usually some kind of phishing scam or 9 times out of 10, it's a scam. So, all right, here's some examples of some skimmers. So whenever you go up to an ATM machine, the one on the left and the one on the right show skimmers. So before you put your debit card in a ATM machine or at the pump at a gas station, just kind of pull on it a little bit, don't destroy their property, but just kind of pull on it and see if anything comes off because you can see there somebody did that on that right-hand side picture and it pulled off a device that was put on top of the real debit card machine. And what happens is when they put that device on there, when you put your debit card in, it takes all the information and that's they can remove that and take it and get all your information off and use it against you. So just kind of pull on it. If something comes off, then you know that it is a fraudulent device. And I would take it inside to whoever owns that machine and give it to them and let them handle it with their companies. But definitely pull on those and just kind of make sure there's nothing fishy going on before you put your debit card through it. And then that one at the bottom with that guy is holding, that is it's a skimmer that people can walk by you and they can get all of your information. Like they can walk past you, and if you've got your wallet in your pocket, they can skim all the information off of your credit cards and your debit cards, and it goes onto that device that that guy's holding. So my advice to you is there are wallets that you can buy online. They're called RFID wallets, and it will help protect your cards from being able to be skimmed. So just a tip. All right, so let's talk about fraud versus merchant disputes. We get this a lot at the bank. Somebody comes in and they say, I've got fraud on my account. I need to dispute this transaction. So I want to talk a little bit about what is a fraud dispute and what is a merchant dispute. A lot of times this happens if you give your debit card to somebody to use, and then some bad things start happening. So can anybody give me an example of when you might give your card to somebody to use? Some reason why you might do that?
Sometimes if I'm sending my son to pick up something from the store, I'll give him my card.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Brenda, if you'll go to the next screen. So that's the example. So you give your debit card and PIN number to a friend who's staying with you and ask them to go to the store and purchase bread. They come home with the bread, but they also come home with a new pair of shoes they just purchased at the shoe store using your card. Is this fraud? Nina, do you think that would have been fraud?
No.
No, right, because you authorized somebody to use that card. So so at that point, that dispute is between you and your son. Not something that you can dispute at the bank. All right, let's go to the next one. So the next one is you purchase groceries for the week. You put your card in your wallet and you do not pull it back out. The next week you check your account and notice purchases for airline tickets and CVS that you did not recognize. Is this fraud? Can these purchases be disputed?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Somebody got a hold of your account, your card number, and they used it without your permission. That is fraud, and that's something that you would definitely go to the bank and report. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what a merchant dispute is. So a lot of times, you know, you have a dispute and you're like, I did a transaction with this company, but I didn't do this transaction that I'm getting charged for. Or they charge you twice for a purchase, or the amount posted is incorrect. You charged it for $20 and they took $45 out. Or let's say you have a gym membership and you go to the gym and you tell them, I don't want this, I want to cancel my membership, but they keep taking the money out of your account. Some people come to the bank and they think that's fraud. Well, it's not really fraud. You feel frauded, you feel deceived because you stopped that membership, but that's actually going to be a merchant dispute. So your bank is going to ask you to go back to that merchant and talk to them about that and try to figure that out between the two of y'all. All right, next one. So let's talk about what happens when you find a charge that you don't recognize. So you're looking at your bank statement, you're being so good, you're looking at your online banking or your e-statement, and you find something that doesn't look like something that you did. First thing you want to do is contact your bank. You're going to talk, explain the situation to the banker, and then they'll direct you to whether it's a merchant dispute, like we talked about a minute ago, or if it's fraud and something that you should dispute with the bank. They're probably going to ask you to contact the merchant first and see if you can resolve it with them. That's always the fastest way to do it, because if you dispute something with the bank, there's an investigation that we have to go through. So it takes a little bit longer to get your money back. So sometimes it's faster if you just go to the merchant and dispute it with them. If the merchant says there's nothing they can do, call your bank back and then they'll start the dispute process with you. The bank's going to dispute it with the merchant, and then it's up to the merchant. And then the merchant will reach out to the bank with an answer. But it is up to them to prove that you did that transaction. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that in just a minute. All right. So let's talk about what a fraud dispute is. So a fraud dispute is when you have no knowledge of who used your card was either lost, stolen, or a fake card was fabricated. And you can state with certainty that you were not aware of this transaction and that merchant. And sometimes you got to be careful with that because sometimes it'll come through as on your e-statement, and it'll say a company that you don't recognize. So automatically you think that it's fraud. But a lot of times what we find is that company, that's the parent company name. So you kind of have to call the merchant and ask them what they do. And then sometimes it starts ringing a bell and you're like, oh yeah, that was me. I did do that. So sometimes your bank is going to actually ask you to call the merchant just to get that information, because we don't want to do a dispute if it's not really fraudulent. And the reason why is because the more fraudulent disputes you have with the bank, after a while, they're going to start saying, hey, maybe a debit card is not something that you need if you keep using it at the wrong places, or your information keeps getting stolen. So we want to do as few fraud disputes as possible. All right, Brenda. Let's talk about what happens when you have confirmed fraud on your account. So you contacted the merchant and you are certain this is not a transaction that you did. Contact your bank. They're going to go ahead and they're going to turn off your debit card so nothing else bad can happen. They may freeze your account depending on the situation. And then they may put an online banking freeze on your account just out of precaution. A lot of times, I would say go ahead and contact the police and file a police report. Your bank may need it. They may not, depending on the amount, but it's a good idea to file a police report, because the more times the police are notified about certain scams or fraudulent activity with certain companies, if they get a lot of those, they'll research them a lot more than if they just have one-offs here and there. So it's good to bring it to the police's attention. And then visit your bank. They're going to have you fill out a dispute form, get you a new debit card ordered, and get some new checks ordered if we need to, and get a new account open. Then I want to talk about some of the popular scams so we can prevent that from happening to you. These are the ones that we see a lot. The first one, Microsoft request for computer access. So this is where somebody calls you and they say, I'm with Microsoft and we've noticed that you have some viruses on your computer, but not to worry, we can take care of it for you. We're only going to charge you $199, and then you give us access to your computer and we'll get in there and we'll clean it all up. So you pay, and people fall for this all the time. They give them their credit card number to take the $199, and then they give them access to their computer. So not only are they getting your money, but now they get into your computer and they can do whatever they want. They can actually follow keystrokes and get into your online banking just by your keystrokes. I don't know how they do it, but they can figure out what you've typed and they can get your username and your password and get right into your online banking. They can use the bank-to-bank feature and they can send money out. It's just crazy what they can do. So don't give anybody access to your computer. If you ever feel like you do have a virus, I would suggest taking your computer and going up to like Best Buy and talking to the Geek Squad, somebody that you would trust, a company like that. But don't ever give anybody access to your computer over the phone. The next one is IRS and Social Security. This is where people get a phone call from the IRS, and it could go one of two ways. You either get the angry IRS guy that says, you owe us money, and if you don't pay us, we're going to send you to jail. The other one is they may call you and they say that it's the nice IRS person, and they say that you actually overpaid your taxes and they owe you money and they want to get your bank account information so they can send it to you. IRS will never contact you via phone. They will only contact you through the mail. So don't ever fall for that. It's not the IRS. Just hang up. That's what I say. Just always hang up. And then the next one, a friend or family call or email asking for money. I'm going to tell you a real life story. I had an older customer that called me one day, and he said, Melody, I need you to bring me $5,000 to the house. And I was like, what? And he was been a customer of mine for 30 years. So if he needed money, I probably would have taken it to him, but because he was older and it's harder for him to get to the bank, but I knew that was out of character for him. Anyway, I asked a lot of questions. He said, well, I just need it. My grandson called and he's in jail and he needs me to send him $5,000 in Target gift card numbers in order to get out of jail. I couldn't believe that he was actually going to do that, but you just never know what you're going to do when you're in that situation. You just want to help your family. You believe it's your grandkid in trouble. So you just never know what you're going to do in that until you're in that situation. But I was able to stop him, and I said, I want you to hang up the phone with me, and I want you to call your daughter, and I want you to find out where your grandson is. And sure enough, he was skiing in Colorado. He was not in jail, so we were able to avoid that $5,000 mistake. So don't, again, if somebody ever calls and they say it's, sometimes they'll say it's your family member. Sometimes they'll even say it's a friend of your family member and that they're in trouble and that your grandson or whatever needs your help. Just hang up the phone and call back to a phone number that you know that person has and verify that they're really in trouble before you do that. Or if they say they're in jail, you could always ask, what jail are you in? Then you can call the jail and just verify. And also, just a quick note, the police department will not take gift cards to get somebody out of jail. So, so don't ever think that you need to purchase gift cards for something like that. You'll know it's a scam if they ask you for that. And then the last one is the lottery or secret shopper scam. My advice to you is, if somebody tells you that you won the lottery, think to yourself, did I play the lottery? Because you usually have to play to win the lottery, right? So if you haven't played, you probably didn't win. And then also the secret shopper scam, that's where somebody says, we're going to give you $500 to go to Walmart and shop our employees and make sure that they're given the best customer service. You just need to buy something, and then we'll send you your $500. Well, if it was that easy, we would all just be doing secret shopper scam, secret shopping jobs all day long, right? There's a catch to it. They're going to ask you to send them money in order to get your. Sorry, they're doing work outside of my office. That scared me. Anyway, yes. So the secret shopper scam. Don't. They're going to ask you to send them money to get your kit to start doing the shopping, or there's going to be some kind of catch to it. So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's my advice. Next screen. And then, can you get your money back if you're scammed? This all depends. The bank does have insurance for these sort of things. So if you are scammed through your debit card or through check fraud or something like that, the bank may be able to get your money back. If you give your debit card to somebody and your PIN number and they do something bad, we're not going to be able to get your money back. If you buy gift cards, and one of the scams that I was talking about, and give somebody the gift card number and they use it, we can't get your money back. So it just depends. It's going to depend on the situation. Just really think about something before you start giving money away. Or another piece of advice, if you've got a good relationship with your banker, go talk to them and say, hey, I got this email and it said that I won this money, or I need to give them my bank account so they can send me money. Talk to your banker, because I guarantee you they've seen that scam before. And if it's a scam, if it's legitimate, then they'll tell you about that too. But I doubt it is, but they'll direct you in the right direction. And then I gave you some phone numbers on here, some places that you can call if you ever feel like you're getting scammed. There's the Social Security customer service, and then computer internet safeguards. If you ever feel like you've got viruses on your computer or somebody has hacked into your computer, you can call that number. If you ever feel like your identity's been stolen and that somebody might be getting credit cards in your name or something like that, no matter what, get your credit report once a year, at least once a year, because you can get it at that annualcreditreport.com. You get one free credit report a year, and then that way you can get an idea of what's going on your credit. And then again, for identity theft, there's a number that you can call. And then if you owe taxes, you can call the IRS. So if somebody calls you and says that they're with the IRS, you can call this number and they can tell you if you owe money. Or again, call your banker or your financial advisor and they'll be able to talk you through those situations. So in conclusion, today we talked about fraud prevention, how your information is stolen, the difference between unauthorized and fraud transactions, and then some of the common scams out there. And then there's my contact information. Even if I'm not your banker, I would be happy to help you anytime you just want to bounce some things off of us or want advice on anything. I'm always happy to help. Does anybody have any questions for me? Anything that maybe you've experienced or a story that you want to share with the group, that something that you've been through or a friend has been through? We can always learn from each other.
Oh, well, Melanie, I have some questions.
Okay.
First, yes, a lot of people, they use mint.com, mint.com. So that website requires you put all your bank account and password there, and you also put your credit card and account and password there. So every month you just check that website to see how much money you have and how much money you spent. So is this website safe or not?
Okay, so that's a good question. I'm not familiar with Mint, but I think I know what you're talking about. If you go to that website, if it's a website that's credible, you can always go to the Better Business Bureau and type in the company name and kind of see the reviews and see if anybody else has reported that their account information was hacked. Do that first. But if it's something that you feel comfortable with and it's a service that you want to use, as long as remember a minute ago when we had that screen and it showed the different features of a secure website, make sure it has all those secure features. And if you've done your research and you feel comfortable with it, they may need that information, but you're giving it to them. They're not asking you for it. So that's the big difference. Is if somebody emails you and says, hey, we've got this great website that's going to help you keep up with all your financial needs, just give us your account number, that might be a red flag. But if you go looking for that for them, and it's a company that you've heard about through your friends that use it, or it's a trusted website, and it's got all the trusted features of the website, then you should probably feel good about using it. Brenda, can we share this presentation with them? Can we email it so they'll have all this contact? Oh, you're on mute. I'm sorry, Brenda.
Sorry about that. So yes, this entire presentation video will be on the same page where you all registered, and actually the PowerPoint will be there as well. So you'll be able to, and I do have everyone's email from the registration link, and I can email it if we can do that for sure.
Great.
Oh, thank you.
Good question.
Oh, my next question is, any other people have questions?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, my second question is, for the password, people will say, okay, you have to change all your password every 6 months or whatever, even you use the most strongest password. So how do you think?
I didn't get the last part of the question. I'm sorry, Amy.
So a lot of people said you have to change your password maybe every 6 months. So how do you think? Should I change that? Change all my password every 6 months?
How do you change them?
No. Do I need to change all my password every 6 months?
Yes. So that is a great idea. That's a good best practice. I know it's time consuming and it's difficult because you have to remember all these different passwords. But if somebody ever did hack into your computer, like I said, they can go in and they can watch your keystrokes and figure out what your passwords are. So the harder we make it for them, the better. So it's not a bad idea to change it every 6 months.
That's a lot of work.
I know it is. I know.
Yeah. Then if other people don't have a question, then I will ask my question list.
Okay.
Then everybody says the dumpster drivers, you have to shrink your mails or something. But from what I see is, we put your mail into the trash, and then they just the dump drivers just they have a big machine and they pile everything together. So I couldn't imagine how can they steal your letters from your trash.
So you're asking me how dumpster divers get a hold of your trash?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I saw it. They put your trash into their big dumpster, and
Uh-huh.
then that machine will shrink your trash. So I don't think the dumpster drivers will steal your mail because
I
it
see.
looks like impossible.
I see. So a lot of times what happens is, okay, for instance, you have your waste baskets in your house and you take those and you put them in your like, I've got a big green trash can that the city comes around and picks up. Some people
Mhm.
keep those outside and I keep mine in my garage, so it would be harder for somebody to get a hold of that. But if you dump your waste baskets into your big dumpster and it sits out there until Wednesday when your trash man comes, somebody could go through your trash and pull that out. So if you don't have that situation, that might not be an issue for you. But regardless, you can get a shredder at Walmart for like $20. And what I do is if I get a bill in the mail for anything that might have any information on it that I don't want shared, I take the envelope out and I put it in recycling. And then I take the actual contents of the mail and I just put it right through my shredder. And then I just have that confidence to know that nobody's going to get a hold of that information.
Okay, I see.
But
Then
good questions.
thank you. Then my next question is merchandise dispute. So I heard people said, for example, if I found something, the store charged me twice for $20.
Uh-huh.
So when I call the bank, then people will say, okay, if your bill for this month is $1,000 and you have to still pay in full, not you pay $980 because you think that your $20 is not your spending. So you have to pay $1,000. And then when the bank get back to you and said, okay, that is not your spend, then they will get rid of $20 from your statement. Is that right? Or
So that's when if you're charged twice for the same purchase, that's why I would call the merchant first before going to your bank. And try to work it out with the merchant, because they should be able to credit your account back right away for that extra charge that they did. And then there's no waiting period. Does that make sense?
But I think the question she's
Oh.
getting at maybe is if you don't notice it until you get your statement and then it's actually due, if you don't pay it, you're going to get hit with interest, right? If you
Oh,
leave a balance instead of paying it all off.
right.
I know that's happened to a lot of people. So if you don't
Yeah.
notice it till the statement comes, then it gets a little trickier, right?
Yeah. Is that what you were trying to get to, Amy? Was that your question?
yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, in that case, because you don't want your payment to be late, because then it's going to look bad on your credit. So I would go ahead and just make that payment, and then you'll have a credit next month on your credit card statement.
Okay, I see. And if I find it earlier, how can I see how can I call the store if it is just a small business, something like that?
So are you talking about if you had a charge on your credit card twice or your debit card?
Yeah, if I find it,
Mhm.
and how can I find their business number? So just if there's a small business or
Uh-huh.
some kind of booster in a big store.
Oh, that's a really good question. If you contact your bank and ask them, they should be able to get that information. I mean, you can always Google the name of the company and
Mhm.
find it that way. But a lot of times your bank will have a little bit more information on that merchant that maybe you can't see. And they may have a phone number for you that you can call.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Melanie.
You're welcome. All right.
Okay, hi Melody. I think
Hi.
some of our members have a few questions.
Awesome.
So, I'm gonna let them speak.
I have a question.
Hi.
Hi. I've been getting a lot of I've had a lot of what I thought was to be a serious relationship on WhatsApp, And
Is this related to banking?
yes, it is.
Okay. All right,
And-
just checking.
And then as I got to as I began to know the person, she started asking me for Steam gift cards and Amazon gift cards
Mhm.
and even eBay gift cards. And she would always say, whenever I would take a picture, I was so gullible. She would always ask me to send more and more. What do I do about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, we see that a lot too. So it's not just you. We hear that at the bank a lot. My advice would be that if you're dating somebody and had you met this person before? Met them
I met him in person only once, and then,
only once? Yeah.
and then she moved out of the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we hear that. You just got to trust your gut. And you probably knew that she shouldn't be asking you for that. And you just need to trust your gut and just say no.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to give somebody gift cards just to go out with you or date you or be your
Yeah.
friend.
Uh-huh.
So just trust your gut and say no.
Okay.
Thank you, Melody. Did Ricky have a question? Where's Ricky? Do you have a question?
Sure.
Because we have time.
I'm coming.
Yes, go ahead.
He's coming.
Can I sit there, Darren?
Yeah, go ahead. This is the question seat.
Okay, after Ricky, you can come up.
I had a question about when you were talking about Microsoft sending you a request to fix viruses on your computer.
Yes.
I don't usually get Microsoft. Unfortunately, I get it from a reputable company virus company like McAfee. Have
Mhm.
you ever, and they want to usually sell me software to
I
remove
know.
viruses. Is it really always a scam or just sometimes?
Yeah, they probably won't contact you. They don't really have any way of knowing that you've got a virus on your computer. So if they contact you and say that they've detected that, let me back up and say, I am not an IT expert by any means. Banking is my thing, but I can tell you that most times those companies are not going to contact you. You're going to want to contact them. So no matter who it is, McAfee, Microsoft, whoever it is, if they contact you, just hang up with them, Google the phone number for their corporate office, and then contact them directly and ask them if you're in their system, if they should have notes if somebody reached out to you. But you contact them and then you'll feel a little bit more comfortable because again, I just don't think that they would contact you and they shouldn't be asking for access to your computer,
Definitely not that, but at least I would be inclined to think that it might be okay to download their antivirus software, not give them access to my computer, but you still think downloading their software is still a scam? I mean, is it actual software or do they have?
It depends on how you're downloading it. Like if they send you a link and say, download it from here, that's questionable, right? Because you're clicking on a suspicious link that you don't fully trust. If you go to their website and it's their reputable website and it's got all the secure features that we talked about earlier, then and there may be a place there to download their software. That's a different story. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I think we have one more question, Carrie.
All right. Y'all are asking good questions. I'm impressed.
Really, really good. And I have one thing at the end I want to add as well.
Okay.
You are talking to the Melody.
I know you. Hi, Terry.
Hi. Hey, what I was wanting to know is I've never ever checked my credit because I'm scared to. Because I know that like when I apply for a credit card, I never get it. So except for one time. And then it was for a Target card, but I don't know, I don't have any credit cards or anything like that, and I don't really want them, but when I got my apartment, they needed a credit, thing.
Mhm.
But so you need a credit. It's important to have a credit.
It is.
I don't know how to build credit, and I was wondering how do I go about building credit? Because it says
That's a
like no credit.
Yeah, that's a great question. And Terry, I'm glad you asked that because credit is so important. It doesn't only affect getting credit cards, but it could affect you getting an apartment. It could affect your insurance rates on your car insurance. So it's important that you do view your credit and see what's on there because first of all, if there's something on there that's not yours, you can dispute that and get it off and that'll help raise your credit score. If there's something on there that was yours and it was an oopsie that maybe you did and you can then try to fix it and you can work with, there's credit agencies out there that can help you figure out a plan to get you back on track. And me and Julie, we have contacts. So if you ever want to do that, we can help you with that. Okay, Terry?
I don't have a lot of money, but I need to do it because I don't
Yeah,
have
and sometimes it doesn't cost a lot of money. Sometimes it's just a matter of, there's a lot of things that affect your credit. There's too many inquiries that affects your credit. So the company, whoever you work with may say, just don't do any more credit inquiries for the next 6 months. And that'll help raise your
one in
credit.
my whole life.
But it could mean, it could be, don't close out any credit cards. That hurts don't close out any credit accounts because that could hurt. So there's a bunch of different things that go into your credit score. But talk to a professional that can help guide you through that. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna come get the number.
Good. We're happy to help.
All right, appreciate it.
What's your question, Bree?
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I think we actually have one more and then we'll cut it off on our end, guys, because there's other people.
Okay, no problem.
Like when you're
Hi.
paying for something like a big purchase over a period of time, what kind of game plan would you have?
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard, it's not you, it's my speakers. I didn't hear your question.
Here, you want me to repeat it for you? They asked if you're saving up for a big purchase over a certain period of time, what would be your game plan?
Oh, good question. Do you have a savings account at your bank?
Yeah, I do.
You do? So there's a lot of different things that you could do. So you could just start off by putting $5 a week into your savings account. And it would be, and $5 doesn't seem like a whole lot of money, but it grows really fast. We also have another plan that we do. Now this usually starts at the first of the year, but on the first week of the year, you put $1 into your account. And then the second week you put $2. And the third week you put $3. By the end of the year, you end up with like over $1,000. So there's a few different plans. And if you ever want, my contact information is on here. Call me and we can help you get that plan going. Okay.
Thank you.
Did that help? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that helped.
Okay.
It did.
Anybody else have anything? I'm sorry.
Thank
Is there
you.
any? Bye, you guys. Thank you. So I had a story I was going to share real quick before we run out of time. I was out of the country last week and I had a really big aha moment. And one of your comments, Melody, was about when you give out you hand over a card like in a restaurant, when your check comes, you put the card in the little thing and they take it away, right?
Mhm.
Well, and not in this country, we were in 2 countries and neither country would take your card. Like they just don't touch your card. On the back of most credit cards now is this little electronic logo that they bring the machine to you put it on the machine and it goes right through.
Wow.
So and one restaurant warned us about that because we were Americans, right? We're like, here's my card. And that's always suspicious to me, but you do it because there's no other way to pay, right? Many times. So the restaurant, the waiter manager, he says, do not ever give anybody your card in this country. They will bring the machine. And even if I bought a $1 something, they brought the machine and you just put the card on the machine and it goes through. And I've never done that here. I
Oh,
didn't
really?
even know my cards were set up for that. I don't know if the US uses that. Have you heard anything about that here?
Yes, and that's it's funny you say that because we just got those cards that have that logo on there that you were talking about, and it's called Tap and Pay.
Mhm.
And so like I know at the Costco at the gas station, you can just tap your card and it pays. My husband pulled his debit card out of his wallet the other day and he was at Chili's and he was gonna go do the tap and pay. He had his card halfway to the reader and it was already reading it. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so you have to be careful with those things because
Oh,
you could be paying for the next person.
oh gosh, yeah, I know that, yeah. In my case, the machine was like, like right in front of me, it was like inches from me, but that's scary, yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't even think of that, because
you
I'm
just
not,
have to,
I don't think I've used it in the US. I mean, I just haven't, I'm gonna start, because I don't want to
Yeah.
hand off my card, like you said, because I've
Right.
always, and my customers, my clients, I've always, been worried, like, and for myself, you hand over your card, all they have to do is write down all your information.
I
They've got the
know.
CVV and they've got your expiration date, and
Yeah,
anybody can go anywhere online and buy anything. So yeah,
exactly.
that was a real aha
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
So
I
it is a
didn't know
great,
that.
it is a great feature for that. So you don't have, your card doesn't have to be taken away, but you just have to be careful. So my husband started pulling his whole wallet out and just getting it right up to the machine and tapping it. So, because he was afraid he was going to pull it out and it was going to register for the next person at the next table.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's crazy.
yeah, all these conveniences that we have, it just does open it up sometimes to different problems. So we just have to get ahead of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I would love to see restaurants get on board with that here, because that I've
Yes.
seen in my banking world as well. A lot of fraud is happening that way, when your card leaves your possession and you don't know who's in the back, writing down your number. So I
I know.
thought that was a really, really good information I wanted to share. So
Yeah, thank you.
thank you. Anybody else have anything before we close out our session? You guys don't want to, anybody? No? Okay, so we will end our session. I'm going to put the poll up, you guys. It's one question, so please answer before you sign off. All of this will be on our website, the same place where you registered. And Melody, thank you so, so, so much for a wonderful presentation. Very, very informative. And we appreciate you coming on today and being able to answer so many of our questions. So thank you
Absolutely.
very, very much.
Anytime.
Appreciate that. Is everyone getting the question?
Yes.
The poll? Okay. I'm waiting for everyone to participate. 3 more people. Okay. All righty. It looks like you have 100% that they found this workshop effective.
Great.
So thank you so much for that. And I will end the recording, and thank you, everybody. And we do this twice a month, and stay tuned next month for our next set of webinars, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.